Hey, everybody, it's Joe with the Gym Life Podcast here with another special Strong Woman interview for you today, fresh off of Clash at the Coast. She was the 2022 Arnold Amateur Champion. She was also second at Clash of the Coast last weekend to a fellow Canadian. And then on top of that, she just broke the all-time world record Circus Dumbbell, 182 pounds. Is that right, Sam?
183.9.
183.9. Hey, everybody, it's Sam Belliveau. Belliveau.
What?
Mess that up. Are you kidding? I'm terrible with last names if you don't know that already. So, and if you got a French last name, forget about it. I'm going to destroy it.
Oh, both Max and I are really aware of that.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was going to say, if I had to say Max's last name right now, which I'm not, but someday when I interview him, I will let him know it's going to be the same problem. So,
yep.
So how you feeling right now? How's everything going?
Feeling great. We got back home Tuesday night and right back to work yesterday. I just had a little workout there last night, but Max has to go right back into the swing of things as World's Strongest Man is approaching.
Yeah.
So the work just never gets it's never over for us. We're back onto the next task, and because we're a team, right? Like he's prepping for Worlds, meaning like I need to be right there with him. So yeah, back at it.
Well, you're one busy couple, and you're one of several power couples right now in the strength scene, which I think is pretty exciting I think it's exciting for all of us because, it seems right now we have these power couples that are kind of on top of the world. Obviously Isaac and Melissa and if we can ever get Thomas, Hannah's husband, to do something, maybe that would be a cool mix there as well. And of course there's others, but definitely you and Max are staying super, super busy out there. And this isn't unusual to you. I mean, you've been at it for quite some time. Why don't you give us kind of the backstory of, let's go way back. Let's talk about when it all kind of started for you, Sam, not just Strong Woman, because I know you were a bit of a power lifter prior to all this, right? When did all that start for you, and how did it evolve into your Strong Woman career?
Okay, so I had a couple years of university and college right after high school. I played hockey, so I was invited to play on the university team. But like in school wise, like I was in I was just really not engaged into any academic. Like I wasn't really as book smart or anything, and I knew I had to just get my hands dirty. So I went to college, got a certification there, and then things weren't just really working out. I mean, I was at that time, like I was such a good kid growing up. I got into some bad things, like into college, and just wasn't keeping my mind a good busy. So my cousin's fiance at the time was a general manager at a gym, and he's like, look, I can get you a job at the front desk, and we'll keep you busy there. So I was hired to fold towels, and that was my first time ever into a gym. Even like growing up playing hockey, like we were never introduced to the barbell. So I folded towels probably for a good like 2 months before I even like went into the back. And I was really intimidated, like as anyone that first starts in a gym. And I got set up with a personal trainer for you get like 3 complimentary session or whatnot. And like immediately I was hooked. I remember my trainer at the time, Steven, like he was just very in like awe, like on how strong I was just to begin with. Like I think my first deadlift session, I must have done like 2 or 2.5 plates, which is like really good for a starter, really good.
Yep.
Right. So right away I got more sessions with him, and they were talking about a powerlifting gym that was just about like a half hour outside of town, and they're like, they do powerlifting there. That is the closest gym here, and they can really teach you like the conjugate style of stuff, which I didn't know at the time what it was. So nonetheless, I make the drive up one night, and I really, really got hooked. Like I just love the whole, like even the multiply side of things. I got into a bencher, I think like within like 6 months of training period. Wow. Like I was just like all in. I did my first raw contest. I totaled like 665 or something, and that was just like my first total. It was my first, like I achieved a goal. Okay, now let's add to that total, and it blew up from there. And then to end off my multiply career, I guess, which was like within a year and a half, I totaled 1430 at 181.
Wow.
really good for me. I was a huge goal. It was, I think, the second or third biggest total by any Canadian female. And then during that summer, National Amateur was coming to New Brunswick, and there was like a few guys, but there was no women's that you did strongman. Like in the East Coast, it isn't really popular. So they're like, well, you lift stuff. So would you like be interested on going to national? And I was like, okay, sure. Like, I'm like, I could sumo deadlift. Stone shouldn't be hard, right? I roll.
Yeah.
So, and there was a deadlift, which I was really like, I was already doing deadlift, but in that comp, there was a Husafel, there was a yoke, and a Circus Dumbbell. So I went to nationals. I was able to touch a couple of things. I did 2 small contests prior, and I finished 4th at national, like 0.5 off the podium. Right there, I was like, okay, like I think I can do something with this. So 365 days after, like I trained hard for that whole year, and I ended up winning nationals the next year. I got my pro card, and then I won the next 3 or 4 pro shows in Canada. Like I had a fire lit up my ass, and that was just under 5 years. So I've been doing Strongwomen it's going to be 5 years in September.
Well, what interests me most about that story too is the fact that you kind of had this natural ability coming, no doubt, playing hockey. I got a lot of friends that play hockey. So you saying that you had a big deadlift or maybe even a big squat at that time is no big surprise. I mean, your quads are enormous. I mean, and I know you got a lot of that from skating, that natural ability. But so you're saying that you did, so you going back, you did the powerlifting for about 1.5 years, then stumbled into the strongman scene. And at that time in Canada, how big was the scene? Because we're going back 5 years, and I know you and I, and we'll touch on this in a minute, we had a conversation down at Clash, how we're sort of rebuilding that Canadian scene right now. How big was it, and what were those nationals? What was the organization then?
It wasn't like it had something, it had potential, but I feel like it lacked of someone to kind of flower what was there. It's not like the States. Like I feel like the States has, like, it's grown. Like I remember when, we talk about it with Dion because now we're part of Strongman Corp Canada. Yeah. So I know like started with 500 athletes maybe, and now she's got thousands of athletes. Right. Canada has the same potential. It just wasn't given any opportunity. It still took me 5 years into the sport, like to actually be able to get some recognition, right? Like I was never given opportunities enough to grow or excel as an athlete. Right. And now that Max and I are taking part, and we have a great team here in Canada for the amateur scene, that's what it needs to, like, the amateur scene needs love to build great pros. I remember when I started competing, Mel was already on the scene, and I was like, she is incredible, right? She has so many abilities, but to see what she's done since then, is just amazing. And that comes with the international scene that we're now giving a platform. Like, it was just great to see that Clash is giving a platform for women's and men in weight class to shine. It's not all about the open world's strongest man anymore. Like, we're able to actually do something about it, and to get recognition on ESPN in front of an international scene. It's a fuel to the fire for sure.
It's got to be, and talking about Clash, and we do all the time, and the opportunities that it's providing all the athletes within our sport, it's amazing, because what people are discovering is people do actually care and want to see these great athletes in these other classes. And it's funny because for so long, it was like people had blinders on. I get it. The super heavyweights are awesome. They're a spectacle. They're cartoon characters. They're guys that are in comic books, but they're not the normal public. They're just not guys and gals that we can relate to, because we're not the size of Max, or we're not the size of Brian Shaw or some of these other guys. So we need to have that guys and girls alike need to be able to relate to these other athletes. And you're a perfect example of that, as were the 105s. Give us your take on Clash. How did you feel about that? And obviously that invite was something special to you. And then after getting the invite and getting down there, what was your experience there?
Oh, it was great. Like, I was really nervous going in because I knew, like, I lack of self-confidence, obviously. And like, Max is really great at like reminding me that like I'm able to keep up with these ladies, but if you look at it on paper, like I don't have the biggest deadlift, I don't have the biggest yoke, I don't have, you know, like my strength isn't quite on paper where others ladies are. But I know I have heart, and I think heart really goes a long way of like, I had that world record, but we right away had to put our blinders down and say, okay, there's still 5 more events, right? Like work's not done. And it was just the atmosphere at Clash just made it so much easier for us to enjoy the moment. Yes, we were dying in heat, and we did a max distance Husafel in this stupid. I mean, it was like, it was so fun. Like, I have the time of my life when I compete, and I think that really it helps amplifies the work that I do on comp day. I'm able to release this nightmare, I guess, and I was just like, it's fun. Like, if I make a mistake or if something happens, like, I feel like I'm able to move on really quick and not get disappointed, and it won't ruin the experience that I'm there for. Right. I take an opportunity for me to grow. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're certainly doing that at an exponential rate right now, which I think is awesome. You're one of those, I don't even want to call you a sleeper anymore, because you kind of used the Clash as a way to say, hello world, here I am. And it started with that world record the day before.
Max calls the Clash for me as like his Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Where it was like, hey, we're here.
Yeah, I totally agree. And listen, you did it in all-star fashion with that Circus Dumbbell. I got to ask you the history behind that for you and that particular lift. I mean, it's not a record that a lot of people go after, but it's an amazing feat of strength. I love it because it's such an old school strongman event. It's something that everybody's related to for 100+ years, the Circus Dumbbell lift. When did you find out you were good at that, and what kind of inspired you to go after that lift?
So when I met Max 3 years ago, I came to Thunder Bay and I moved here with him, and we started training. And like within I want to say like a few weeks, like I already was using the big boy dumbbell, which was a 130. And at that time, like, I mean, 130 was really good, right? Women's are getting really good at it. But if you're hitting in the 130, 140 mark, you're still above the norm.
Right.
So I was getting really good at it. And then last year I got hurt on an axle clean and press. So I had to take a step back. This was right before Clash last year, where they did all the record breakers, and I got invited to do that, but couldn't make the trip, obviously, because I got hurt. So I had to like sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to work on my technique now. I might not be able to, and I lost a lot of weight too. Like I lost a good 35, 40 pounds, and my leverages were changing and stuff. And I knew I could do something really good with Circus Dumbbell. I was just very determined. I had a really good mindset going into those training sessions, and that goes a long way. I think that's why people are really good at deadlift. That's why people are really good at yoke. It comes with, if you love that event, it's just that mindset going into, it's gonna be that much easier, right? And then back forward a little bit, like I went to the Arnold 2 years ago, tried to break that record with Donna and Christian, and they both set it up at 180, and it was just amazing to see. And I was like, okay, like I wasn't too far behind. I didn't have the right implement, but I got back home the next week and ordered the same dumbbell, the monster dumbbell, and I've been training with it, and my training's just been very good. I think, I don't know, like I think naturally it's just a very good movement for me. And if you're good at something, I think just go for it. Like there's nothing stopping you.
It's a fun caveat to all this other stuff, isn't it? Like getting ready for a competition is always fun, and training all these implements is fun. But when you do have that kind of one in your back pocket that you really enjoy doing, then you have the opportunity just to showcase it by itself. You can kind of have a little more fun in training with that. I get that from you as you're talking about it. Because listen, not everybody loves that damn Circus Dumbbell. I'll tell you right now. Matter of fact, I would say it's probably not even split. Most people hate that Circus Dumbbell. So it's a record that might be standing a while, but I'm sure you already got thoughts in your head. Let's go ahead and get this number to 200 and be the first woman to do 200, I'm sure.
That's the goal that like I just like last month, I think we just started talking about it, how like I hit that 180. I hit the Canadian record at 175 in December. I hit it again a couple months after, and then I hit 180 3 weeks ago prior to Clash, and I was like, Max, I'm gonna be the first girl to press 200. And he's like, yeah, no doubt.
I love that record. And here's why, Sam, because it doesn't matter at that point, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, if anybody breaks that record, you'll be the first one ever and only one to get to 200. And that's why I think that's special. I was talking to Jimmy Cobb. He's the bench press champion, world record holder, of course. And I said he bench pressed 1320 and unlimited, right? Which is crazy to imagine. And I said, Jimmy, I said, what's your favorite lift ever? And he said, the first guy to hit 11 and the first guy to hit 12. He says, I don't even think about 1320 because those two are still the biggest lifts for him. So I can imagine 200's got to be like just making your mouth water a little bit. So that's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, we're going to keep adding, like, I mean, there's no rush, right? I want to stay healthy, and we're going to keep adding 2-3 pounds every time, 5 pounds every time I get the opportunity. So yeah, we're just going to have fun. But that's one thing, like, if you have fun while chasing something, I think it makes it that much better. Like, we knew going in that I had about 185, depending on what the girls were going to do, right? But I mean, yeah, if you enjoy the process, I think it makes the job a little bit easier on the day of.
Yeah, I would agree. Talking about your health, you showed me a video at Clash, and I know the video was out prior to that. A lot of people knew the type of injury that you experienced, and we were kind of joking about it because you're like, let's get rid of the belt clean. And then you showed me that video, which is, if for those of you out there that haven't seen it, Sam's going to share it with me, and I'm going to post it and get it out there after this interview. But it was pretty detrimental. It was an awful, awful injury, some fluke thing. Your recovery from that still going on. Did you feel, can you explain what happened? Can you explain what the injury was? Because it was very technical when you were telling me what had happened. And then how did that affect you going into Clash? Is it still residual right now, or are you still working through that?
So yeah, just over a year and a couple weeks ago, now I was going for a Canadian axle clean and press record, and I had 250 on the bar, and I wasn't allowed any like crash pads or wagon wheels. Also, we were allowed to use belt cleans. So maybe like 2-3 sessions prior to that record, I was like, Max, I'm just gonna try a couple belt cleans and see how that feels, because we all know that the other way around, continental is very hard, and like you could so much energy, right, bringing it to your chest. So I'm like, if I could save that little bit of 5-10% of energy, then my press will be easier. But I got really amped up on that 250 in the gym. I had like, good gym crowd there, and we were going for big things. And off my belt, I got way too explosive, and it hit my throat. I wasn't able to catch it. And when it hit my throat, I fell back, and then the bar came down and smashed just the top part of my femur, which led me to literally crawl out of the gym. And I went straight to the ER. That whole night, they wouldn't release me for a couple hours because they just couldn't believe that nothing was broken. Nothing was, like, they couldn't see anything on any x-ray, anything that they were doing. So I literally couldn't walk for a good few weeks. I was bedridden, and it was pretty awful. I mean, every time my pelvis would shift, I was experiencing so much pain. And I had to rebuild everything. I had to relearn how to squat, relearn how to deadlift, relearn how to use my legs for my shoulder press. I couldn't do any single leg work for a long period of time, because the second I would have that shift, right? So what caused through that injury was I had a sprain to my pubic symphysis, a sprain in my pelvis, and I had about 13 millimeter shifts in the lower of 2 of my vertebrae. So I just had to, work with some physios, chiros, everything, MATs. And then I got really fortunate to be able to see Dr. Todd a few times over the last year. If you guys know him, yeah. Todd McDougall's one. He's like a magician, and he was reading my x-rays and my MRIs, and just, he's helped me a lot. Going through the Arnold, I was dealing with a lot of pain, and I feel like from the Arnold to Clash, like, I've been recovering and just feeling way better. Like, I've noticed like how I don't get up in the middle of the night because of pain anymore, and things are like looking up. So yeah, I feel great, and I'm just gonna take that as a great opportunity for me to get stronger now and just see where I can get.
That's such a one-off injury. I'm sure you can replicate that many times, God forbid, to fall with the axle like you did, but that just is really strange when I was talking to you about what had happened there with the sprains going on. And as a strong man or strong woman, that pelvic area in general is so key to everything we do. Everything comes through that area, so Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I can't wait for everybody to see that video if they haven't, because it was just mind-boggling. And the fact that you literally woke up in the hospital after that, it blows my mind. It really does. So, well, congratulations on being back. I know the Arnold and the Clash were fairly close together in calendar, but you're making a lot of progress, obviously. My one concern when I spoke to you at Clash, when we were talking about that world record, was the wondering if you were going to fire correctly to be able to get that up through your hips. And of course, the rest is history. You did.
Yeah.
History for sure, all-time world record. So what's new on the horizon for you right now? What do you got coming up in respect to, I know Max has got a big event coming up as World's Strongest Man. I know there's a lot of support from your end going his way right now, but what are you doing right now, and what's coming up for you down the road?
So I got one Canadian Pro show here that's going to be this summer, but I won't be like I'll focus on it a little bit, but it's just going to be for a bit more experience for me and to hang out with some girls here in Canada. But I have the Shaw Classic, hopefully, that I get to qualify for.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So both Max and I will be able to compete at that, which will be just amazing, especially that it's Brian's show and we're on Team Evolution. It's going to be a great week, and I'm just looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And the 90, is it 92 kilo or 90 kilo Clash?
Oh, yeah.
That's in Baltimore 2 weeks after the Shaw Classic. And then it doesn't stop. We have Dubai in, because I got invited to World Ultimate Strongman.
Nice.
Clash. So we have Dubai in, which will be probably in the fall, and then Iceland. And then hopefully I can make some time for OSG, because I've always wanted to compete on that platform, and I think I'm ready. Because I've always been like, in the last 2-3 years, like it's always been like, no, I'm not ready. And I think I am getting there.
I think you standing on the podium at Clash, and if you look to your left or to your right as you were standing, you saw two women there that are perennial OSG competitors, and you held your own with them. So there's no doubt you're ready to be at OSG for sure. And that experience to make the final day is always the goal. And I certainly think you're top 10. So, and then beyond, I think it's awesome that you got this tremendous opportunity to build this spectacular resume coming up in the next, not that you already don't have it, but Iceland and going to World's Ultimate Strongman, of course, having the opportunity perhaps to go OSG. And of course, you're going to be competing at the Shaw Classic. Who we kidding, right? I mean, we know what's going on there. You're going to get that invite. I'm surprised to hear. So they did announce, in World's Ultimate Strongman did announce back in Dubai. I missed that. So that's coming back.
I don't know if it was like, don't put like, I'm not 100% sure, but I had a little bit of discussion with, I forgot his name there. The main guy for there. He was there at Clash this weekend, and he formally invited me again. And he knows Max is already on the roster. So he did mention that it was Dubai, and they're just looking for the best date so it doesn't affect a couple of other contests, because they've got the Rogue Invitational in there too, and there's a couple other big contests. So it'll be in the fall, but
nice. It's nice to hear that I can't remember his name now either. It's nice to hear that some of these promoters now, with all these different opportunities that are going out there, are putting a little effort into communication to figure out when they should throw these events. Because we know in the past, there's always been some conflicts where now you're not getting the best to compete at a lot of these, because they have to make a decision where they want to be, as opposed to just going through the calendar and saying, I'm going to be at the 5 biggest shows, instead of, well, I can make this one, but these 2 are too close together. So really nice to hear he's having that conversation right now as to when to put that on the calendar, not to be affected by these other competitions. Because as a fan, as you are as well, not only competitor, we just want to see the best competing against one another.
Exactly. We don't want to see like people like not going to a certain amount of events because, well, this one's after, or like whatever. Like it's nice to see that they are kind of working together to make it the best season for the athletes, for sure.
Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. It sounds like we're all started getting on the right page. You mentioned Clash 90s, so you're going to gain a little weight for that, huh?
No, I don't. I'll stay where I'm at now, but I'm right. Fluctuate around like 188, 190. So it isn't. I can't get too much bigger. But the events came out. They'll be posted soon, but they were released to us yesterday, and I am so excited.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to try to make as many of those Clash events as I can this year, because that was certainly, I said it on my podcast, I'll say it again. It was a really well-run show. I think we can all agree, especially being a live show. I mean, it was difficult, and the athletes, I think, were the most important part of that. They seemed to get through the contest pretty good. Obviously, the record breakers, what happened to Hannah was a little off, but I think there's no hard feelings. I think it's just new to the sport. It's a growing pain, if you will.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way you felt about it as well. Did you feel any type?
Yeah, I'm sure as a promoter, he's learned a lot of stuff on that weekend, and but I mean, everything went really smooth. I mean, yes, there was maybe that hiccup, and I don't know if there was any other, but at the end of the day, we grasp those opportunities, and we make sure that we can grow with the promoters. That's super important as well.
Yeah, I agree. I still give it an A+. That's just one of those things you don't know until you do it, and then you kind of go, okay, let's rethink this for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tell you, Sam, it was a real pleasure just having that quick chat with a beer in my hand, talking to you. And I was so glad I met you because, I've been following you for quite some time. Being the podcast social media stalker like I am, I feel like I already know a lot of you athletes, and having the opportunity to go to Clash and meet you and several other people was just a blessing. I'm going to look forward to actually, of course, seeing you in the future with all this great stuff you have going on. And Max as well. I'm not going to take away your limelight right now, but your significant other is pretty significant as well. So it's going to be fun watching him compete and doing some of the crazy things that all you Canadians are doing right now. Again, you got to listen to that part of the podcast. I think I'll get a laugh out of you, but I kind of gave you guys a little bit of hell for being so damn good up there in Canada.
We keep telling you guys, it's the maple syrup.
It must be all that damn hockey and cold and maple syrup. Yeah, there's a lot of things we can talk about there.
Tough, man. There's still a bunch of snow here. My backyard's still full of snow.
Where are you at exactly up there?
Northern Ontario, so maybe 2.5 hours from Duluth.
Oh yeah, that's Northern Ontario, all right. Holy moly, you guys don't many people up there, let alone strongmen. So
exactly. Well, we have a really good strongman community here, actually, in Thunder Bay. A lot of good hockey players and lots of good strongmen. But
good, yeah.
It's cold and very strong as fuck.
Yeah, well, that's a fact, Jack. I tell you, you guys are proving that. With this pool of athletes that you have and what you're doing right now, I think it's pretty amazing. And it's great for the strongman community as a whole worldwide that Canada is getting back on track. I love the fact that Strongman Corp is now fostering that in Canada with you guys, and I know you, Max, are going to be a big part of that. You bring any of those contests down in the sort of Ontario area, let me know, because I'll just cross the bridge here in Michigan and get right over there and I'll watch you guys throw some stones around. So I appreciate you coming on with me today, and I look forward to seeing everything you're going to do in the future. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And this won't be our last chat.
No, it won't be. We're going to keep going from here, and I'll catch you at a show in the future. But good luck to you, and good luck to Max as well, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Appreciate it. See you later.
All right.
Bye.